Hello folks, so in this video I wanted to solve a LeetCode problem that I noticed today. I forgot the number of the problem, but I remember what the problem was. So let me explain the problem before we try to solve it. The problem was you are given two integers. I believe they're positive integers, so n and m, n for night and m for morning. Given these two integers n and m, they define two more integers called num1, number 1 and number 2, where number 1 is the sum of all integers in the range of 1 to n for night, 1 to n inclusive, so 1 and n are inclusive. So sum of all the integers in the range of 1 to n which are not divisible by m, morning, m for morning. And then num2, number 2 is the sum of all the integers between 1 to n for night, inclusive of 1 and n, which are divisible by n. So they're basically taking a range of 1 to this number n for night, and they take two sets of numbers in this range, which is inclusive range. So 1 and n night, 1 and n are included, and the two sets of numbers are, one is the numbers divisible by m, m for morning, the numbers not divisible by m, m for morning. So there will be a lot of numbers that are not divisible by m, so compared to what are divisible by m. So at least that's my assumption based on like whatever the value of m is. But it can be like, for example, the number n for night can be 50 and the number m can be 2, in which case you will have half the numbers which is divisible by m and half the numbers not divisible by m, right? So but then if it's anything other than 1 or 2, I think it will be the number of numbers which are divisible by m will be less compared to the number of numbers that are not divisible by m, right? With that, let's look at how to solve this problem. And I have some paper math. One thing to do is you can just simply iterate through and go from 1 to n for night, and get all the numbers at each point, at each number. So, and if the number is divisible by m, you add it to the sum of numbers divisible by m, and if it's not divisible by m, then you then add it to the other sum, that is sum of numbers not divisible by m, and then like finally you can just at the last you can just say sum of all the numbers not divisible by m minus sum of all the numbers divisible by m. So instead of doing this, like going through 1 to n and doing a big loop, depending on how big the value of n is, n for night, I would say maybe we can solve this problem mathematically, and that's what I've come up with. Let's look at what that is looking like. So it looks like this. So we have the numbers 1 to n over here, and then we have m, right, separately. So what we have to find is sum of all the numbers in the range of 1 to n, right? In the range of 1 to n, not divisible by m, and then sum of all the numbers in the range of 1 to n divisible by m, right? Now to find the sum of all the numbers not divisible by m, you just need to do sum of all the numbers 1 to n of 1 to n, in the range of 1 to n, right, minus sum of all the numbers divisible by m. Okay, so that's what is sum of all the numbers not divisible by m. So now we have 2 times sum of all numbers divisible by m. So you just say sum of all the numbers from 1 to n minus 2 times sum of all the numbers divisible by m, right? Because it comes up as, so let's say sum of all the numbers not divisible by m is Sn, and this is Snd, and this is Sd, right? So you're basically saying something like, let me write it up over here, sum of not divisible minus sum of divisible, right? This is sum of all the numbers from 1 to n, right? Minus sum of divisible, right? The not divisible is basically from 1 to n, if you get all the numbers sum and then take out the sum of divisible numbers, you will get the sum of the not divisible numbers. And then you have this, so you basically get 1 comma n minus 2 sd, sum of divisible, right? So this is what I do here. So sum of all the numbers in the range of 1 to n, which is basically defined by the formula n into n plus 1. So let's say the number n is 1. So then this is 1 into 1 plus 1, that is 2. 1 into 2 by 2, that is 1 into 2 is 2. 2 by 2 is 1. And if it's if the n is 2, that is 1 comma 2, then the now sum is 1 plus 2, 3. So you can see that it's 2 into 3 by 2, that is 3. And if it is 3, then it's 1, 2, 3. So 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. And 6 does come up in this formula. How? If n is 3, and 3 into 4 by 2. 12 by 2, this is 6. That's all right. So, and sum of all the numbers divisible by m in the range of 1 to n, right? So, how you get that is, you basically realize that if there are numbers divisible by m, it will be multiples of m. So starting with m into 1, which can be between this, till m into x, let's say, right, which will be less than n, less than or equal to n, right? We have all these numbers, m into 1, m into 2, m into 3, and so on, right? So let's say n is 10, m is 3, let's say. So you have 3, you have 6, and then you have 9. And then when you do 3 into 4, 12, it just goes beyond 10, then n is equal to 10, right? So you realize that x is, for example, in the case of n is equal to 10 and m is equal to 3, x is 3. So till the multiple of x, you will go for m. So when you say m into, so 2 into sum of all the numbers divisible by m, so it's m plus 2m plus 3m plus xm, right? So, and then you get m out of it, so you get 1 plus 2 plus x, till x. So this is x into x plus 1 basically. And what is x? Like x into x plus 1 divided by 2, basically this formula, where n is equal to x, right? So what is x? So x is the value, basically the value of x is basically less than or equal to, basically it's mx is less than or equal to n. So x is less than or equal to n by m, because you can do this all because n and m are positive integers and x is also positive, right? So this will not change. So now you realize that, let's say the value of n is 10 and m is 3, right? So 10 by 3, it's actually 3.333 something, right? And actually x is an integer, so it will be x is 3 actually. So you can actually say max of x basically here, right? That's what the value you get. X is basically the integer value of n by m, right? If it's integer value of n then 3.333, it's the ceiling, right? It's the floor, sorry, not the ceiling, it's the floor of the fraction. So or floor of the number, the fractional decimal number, or the number with decimal points. So it's, if it's 3.333, it's 3. Even if it's 3.9, it's still 3, right? And if it's a exact integer, great. For example, n is 10 and m is 2. 10 by 2 is 5. That's all, right? So I was actually putting down the formula for this. So x is equal to n by m. I wrote that n by m and x into x plus 1 by 2. So x, so this is basically 2 into m into x plus 1 divided by 2. So 2 goes off. That's how this goes off. X is n by m. The interesting thing is, I started solving for this, like 2 is gone, m is gone. This is n square minus n into n by m is minus n square by m, and then minus n into 1 is minus n, right? You get n square plus n by 2, you get n square by 2 plus n by 2 and then this, so here you get minus n by 2, and then you get when you make 2m as the common denominator, then you get 2n square, and then mn square, and then 2n square, and then you get mn, and finally you can actually take out these two values, mn square and mn. You'll get mn into n minus 1, and then 2n square is there, right, and then divided by 2m. Just a moment. So with that, we basically find out that there is a common n here, so n into m into n minus 1 minus 2n by m, right? This is one formula, or you can actually say the formula something like n into n plus 1 by 2 minus, you can take out you had n, right, and so you can actually take out n by m over here as a common thing and say n by m into n plus, and then you can say mn, right? So as you can see over here, it's basically kind of like n square by m minus n, that can be written as minus n by m, and then you can say n, so n square. So for what will n by m will give, what will it give m, n, so it's this m will be cancelled, and then you will get minus n, right? So so with this you can write the formula in a different way also, right? And let's take an example over here. This is actually going to be wrong. I'll tell you why this solving is going to be wrong. We'll realize it because of this thing. I actually did this and then found out with an example that it's wrong, because let's say n is equal to 50 and m is equal to 3, right? You're basically going to get 3 into 3 plus 1 by 2, right? Sorry, not 3. M is 3, not n is 50. So 50 into 50 plus 1, which is 51 by 2. This is 225 is ours, so 25 into 51 minus 50 by 3 into 50 plus 3, right? Now the thing is this, you basically want the integer part of n by m, right? So n by m, wherever it is, it should be integer part. So you actually take it as 16 into 53, but the answer is actually wrong over here. You won't be getting this as the answer. This is not the answer. I'll give you the reason why. So the first thing is, let's say we actually solve it normally on our own over here, right? What is x over here? X is basically the integer part of 50 by 3, right? N is 50, m is 3. 50 by 3 is basically the integer part is 16 actually, because 3 16s are 48, and then you have 2, so it will be 16.6666 something, and the integer part, which is the floor of 16.6666, is 16, right? So you'll get 2 into m into 1 plus 2 plus 3 till 16. So 16 into 16 plus 1, 17 by 2, right? So 16 into 17 by 2, and then into 3 into 2. So 2 is gone. So you have 3 into 16 into 17. And you have 15 into, which is this. And so you basically will get something like 50 into 51 by 2, n into n plus 1 by 2. Minus 2 into m is 3 into 16 into 17 by 2. 2 is gone. 16, this is 17 3s are 51 actually. So 50 into 51 is 25 by 51 minus 16 into 51 actually. So if you notice, the answer is actually bigger, right? Because it's 16 into 51 here and not 16 into 53. Right, so it's actually, you can actually see this is 51 into 25 minus 6, which is 51 into 9, which is actually 9 ones are 9 and 5 are 42. The answer is 459 actually, right? But when you actually do this as the thing, you'll get a, I think, bigger number. um, Let me see, this is bigger, so you'll get a more smaller number, I think, right? With this you'll get a wrong value, because we actually, this x into x plus 1, x is supposed to be the integer part, so this is supposed to be integer part of m, the floor of n by m and floor of n by m, so we should not even multiply these, or we should not even cut this m over here, right? So that's the mistake we've done here. We should not cut this m, because the fractional part of n by m is actually ignored. So it's supposed to be integer or the floor of n by m. So 2 can be cancelled, yes. M into everything else cannot, this cannot happen actually. So this will lead to a wrong answer, right? Because we have taken out, we have tried to remove the m and then say n square by m and whatnot, and then do stuff. And this will also not work out because it's some similar stuff over here, right? We've done some similar stuff over here, so this will also not work out, and this will also not work out. So this is wrong, right? So you will actually get the wrong answer in all these cases, right? And here also, if you notice, one moment. So here, this is actually in this formula also, you'll say 50 by 6, 2 into 3, and then 3 into 49, right? 3 into 49 minus 100, right? It is still going to be wrong. It's going to be some weird value, right? I think this is basically 3 nines are 27, 3 fours are 12, 14, 147 minus 100, which is 47 into 50 by 6, right? So this will still be a wrong answer, right? But the right answer is basically this, which is 2 into 3 and then 1 plus till 16, so which is actually 15 into 51 by 2 minus 3 into 16 into 51, right? So the answer is this. So basically what is the wrong thing that I've done here is basically over here you actually make it as n into n plus 1 by 2, yes, minus 2 into m into 1 plus till x, and n into n plus 1 by 2 minus m into 2 into x plus 1 by 2. So this is the formula, right? This is x m into x plus 1, right? And x is equal to integer part of n by m, right? So this is the integer part of n by m. So if it's 50 by 3, you can't just cut the 3 because 50 by 3, the integer part is 16 actually. It's not 50 by 3 is not 16.66666 into 3 where you again get back your 50, right? 50 by 3 into 3, no. X is actually the integer part of n by m, so 50 by 3 will be 16 actually. So it will be 16 into 3 into 17 actually. So we'll find out what is x by doing the integer part of thing, and then we'll get the final answer by doing this. I'm going to code this and record this in a separate video, and see what is the answer that is provided by other people. So yeah, that's all I had for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.